The Hymn of the Pearl, the Poem, the Deep Slumber, Part 3.
The part of the poem that describes that the prince exhorted the man of his own race to guard himself from the Egyptians and to not join to the impure, we already understand that it is God the Father within Christ telling her this, because we have verified that God the Father, Melchizedek, and his Christ, Lisbet, are one and the same, and are two in one. This is also a figure of how the unbreakable holiness is the lineage of our mother Christ Lisbet. This is also evidence of how she gathered us to herself from afar. In other words, even being so far from the true God and in darkness, she began attracting us to her and called us an intimate companion and worthy of entrusting her purpose in us. That is why it says that even though Christ, God's wisdom, may seem to be alone in the eyes of mortal men, she is not, because God the Father is her intimate friend. That is why she can do all things. Without leaving herself, she renews the universe. In every century, the two dispensations, she enters the souls, making them holy. She makes them God's friends and true prophets, because God only loves those who dwell with the wisdom. That is why we, the first fruits of Christ Lisbet, who genuinely sought to serve the Most High God and leave the earthly world, were able to strip off our vile clothes of the previous dispensation when she resurrected, putting an end to the many waters that could destroy us. In that dispensation, many proved to be children of the devil because they delighted in evil, but we did not. Therefore, the part that says, "I exhorted him to guard himself from the Egyptians and to not join the impure," is because purity and holiness are her banner. The poem says, "I dressed in their garments so that they would not suspect that I had come from far away to take the pearl and to prevent them from stirring up the serpent against me." This does not mean that our mother agreed with that impious man who perverted everyone he could, but rather that only the fact that she was present in that dispensation of death was what neutralized the speed of that serpent's destruction, so that it would not continue destroying, and so that it would not continue speaking more lies, which was the poison with which it was destroying us all. Thus, Christ Lisbet made that serpent go to sleep. Let's continue. But in some way or another, they perceived that I was not of their country, and with deception they made me eat of their food. I forgot that I was the son of kings, and I served their king. I forgot all about the pearl for which my parents had sent me, and because of the heaviness of their food, I fell into a deep slumber. Since very young, Christ Lisbet was discovered by the Antichrist, and upon meeting her, he made her fall for his lies. That is where she falls into a deep slumber and begins to live the things of the earthly world, just as the Antichrist promoted and encouraged among his followers to do. She thought she had found the one who loved her soul and followed him faithfully, without ever questioning his words or actions. She was docile, and everyone who saw her knows that it is so. This stage that was of death because Christ Lisbet was asleep spiritually, without knowing that she is the Christ, is when the prince falls into a deep slumber caused by the heavy food of the Egyptians, forgetting the pact he made with the Father. This is the symbol of the beginning of the first dispensation, where it is fulfilled that the woman would be deceived by the man of sin, the Antichrist, who deceived many and led them astray, making them believe he was God and Christ. Amen. To be continued.